I just read a whole purport, but I think it wasn't connected. Anyhow, I'm just going to continue reading, and if later on you see that this video is going, then you can watch later. Yeah, I don't know what else to do. I'm just going to get to verse 19. No, not 19. Well, whatever. Continuing on. Pasya prayantir abhavanya yoshito vyalankrita kanta saka varutasha yasangrajadvi shiti kantamanditam nabo vimanai kalahangsa panduvi. O never born, O one, not only my relatives, but also other women, dressed in nice clothes and decorated with ornaments, are going there with their husbands and friends. Just see how their flocks of white airplanes have made the entire sky very beautiful. If it cuts out, okay, they're all back. Great. I'm switching over. The power is now back. Switching over to the Wi-Fi. It's working again. Oh my God. Let's just get up to verse 19, and then I'm just leaving a voice message. I'm just going to read up to verse 19. Now it's back, and now the internet seems to be good. But yeah, I'm just going to read up to 19, just a few more verses, and I'm going to figure out something to do figure out how to get inverter power here, so that this doesn't happen again, because it's just too frustrating. Okay, anyway. Okay. Oh, their husbands and friends. Just see how their flocks of white airplanes have made the entire sky very beautiful. Purport. Here, Lord Shiva is as Abhava, which means one who is never born, although generally he is known as Bhava, one who is born. Rudra, Lord Shiva, is actually born from between the eyes of Brahma, who is called Swayambhu because he is not born of any human being or material creature, but is born directly from the lotus flower which grows from the abdomen of Vishnu. When Lord Shiva is addressed here as Abhava, this may be taken to mean one who has never felt material miseries. Satī wanted to impress upon her husband that even those who were not related to her father were also going, to say nothing of herself, who is actually intimately related with him. Lord Shiva is addressed here as blue-throated. Lord Shiva drank an ocean of poison and kept it in his throat, not swallowing it or allowing it to go down to his stomach, and thus his throat became blue. Since then, he has been known as Nilakanta, or blue-throated. The reason that Lord Shiva drank an ocean of poison was for others' benefit. When the ocean was churned by the demigods and the demons, the churning at first produced poison. So because the poisonous ocean might have affected others who were not so advanced, Lord Shiva drank all the ocean water. In other words, he could drink such a great amount of poison for others' benefit. And now, since his wife was personally requesting him to go to her father's house, even if he did not wish to give that permission, he should do so out of his great kindness. Just seeing. Doesn't look like anybody's there. Anyhow. Whatever. I'm just going to continue reading. Katam sutaya pitrigeha kautukam nishamya deha suravarya nengate anahutapya bhiyanti sohridam bhartur gurur deha kritascha ketanam. O best of the demigods, how can the body of a daughter remain undisturbed when she hears that some festive event is taking place in her father's house? Even though you may be considering that I have not been invited, there is no harm if one goes to the house of one's friend, husband, spiritual master, or father without invitation. Tanme prasidedam amartavanchitam kartum bhavan karuniko patarhati tvayatmanorte ham ada prakshakshusha nirupita manu grihana yachita. O immortal Shiva, please be kind towards me and fulfill my desire. You accepted me as half of your body. Therefore, please show kindness towards me and accept my request. Rishiruvacha evam giritra priyaya bhipashita pratyabhyatata prahasan suhrit priya sangsmarita marma vidakuvagishun yanahako vishvasrijam samakshata. The great sage Maitreya said, Lord Shiva, the deliverer of the hill Kailash, having thus been addressed by his dear wife, replied smilingly, although at the same time he remembered the malicious, heart-piercing speeches delivered by Daksha before the guardians of the universal affairs. Oops. I think I might stop here for today. Well, I'll read this purport and then I'll stop. Purport. When Lord Shiva heard from his wife about Daksha, the psychological effect was that he immediately remembered the strong words spoken against him in the assembly of the guardians of the universe. And, remembering those words, he was sorry at heart, although to please his wife he smiled. In Bhagavad Gita it is said that a liberated person is always in the mental equilibrium in both the distress and happiness of this material world. Therefore, the question may now be raised, why a liberated personality like Lord Shiva was so unhappy because of the words of Daksha? The answer is given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Lord Shiva is Atmaram, or situated in complete self-realization. But because he is the incarnation of the charge of the because he is the incarnation in charge of the material mode of ignorance, tamagun, he is sometimes affected by the pleasure and pain of the material world. The difference between the pleasure and pain of this material world and that of the spiritual world, the difference between them, is that in the spiritual world, the effect is qualitatively absolute. Therefore, one may feel sorry in the absolute world, but the manifestation of so-called pain is always full of bliss. For instance, once Lord Krishna in his childhood was chastised by his mother Yashoda, and Lord Krishna cried. But although he shed tears from his eyes, this was not to be considered a reaction of the mode of ignorance, for the incident was full of transcendental pleasure. When Krishna was playing in so many ways, sometimes it appeared that he caused distress to the gopis, but actually such dealings were full of transcendental bliss. That is the difference between the material and spiritual worlds. The spiritual world, where everything is pure, is pervertedly reflected in this material world. Since everything in the spiritual world is absolute, and the spiritual varieties of apparent pleasure and pain, there is no perception other than eternal bliss. Whereas in the material world, because everything is contaminated by the modes of material nature, there are feelings of pleasure and pain. Therefore, because Lord Shiva, although a fully self-realized person, was in charge of the material mode of ignorance, he felt sorrow. Should I just continue? Okay. Okay, I'm just going to continue until it's 8. No, this is a good place to stop. I'm stopping here for today, and we will read from 16 till the end of the chapter tomorrow. I'm really sorry about today's about the power going off 3 times. That was really frustrating. As I mentioned before, I'm going to look into getting inverter power so that this doesn't happen again. All right. Thanks for being patient with me, or with my internet. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shata Shishimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shila Gurudev Ki Jai, Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shata Shishimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shata Shishimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shata Shishimad Shila Bhakti Vigyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Vishnu Vishnupad Ashtatara Shata Shishimad Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitil Vishnu Mahabhagavat Shila Gokshara Swabji Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Vishnu Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babji Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Shri Rup Sanatan Patta Raghunath, Shri Jeev Gopal Patadasha Guna Sharad Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shiva Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai, Namachay Shila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Kshetra Mandal, Gaura Mandal, Vraja Mandal, Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Radha Shamakun Ki Jai, Shri Mona Devi Ganga Devi ki jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Brinda Devi ki jai, Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai, Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya ki jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Brinda ki jai, Shri Shivas Pandit ki jai, Shri Shivas Thakur ki jai, Shri Shivas Angan ki jai, Shri Malini Devi ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Samagata Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. Shivas Panditer Avirbhav Titi ki.
It's 8 o'clock.
Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavasacha Krishna Bhakti Paradevi Sattvatai Namo Namo. Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. Dandavat Pranams. So I will keep you guys informed on how, if I'm able to get inverter power or not. But I'm really serious about doing this now. Before I was thinking to do it and I would just tolerate and tolerate, but it's getting too much now. And I want to do, I'm thinking actually of doing another program where we get into different topics. This is just an idea. I haven't made a very solid plan for this yet, but because lots of times I hear people using these words, like aparad and sadhu sangha, and there's all sorts of different terms, Vaishnava terms, but I see it, I don't know, it's like lots of times people see these words from a very Western point of view, but our acharyas have written so much on what actually constitutes aparad. And there's many articles on it and many different, and also what is sangha? What does sangha mean? And who is a sadhu? And what does it mean to do sadhu sangha? And there's lots of different terms like this. What's ahimsa mean? Anyways, and so I was thinking of just picking different topics and then finding all different articles and things from our acharyas so that we can get a really clear understanding of what these different terms and different topics, just get really clear on all these different topics. So anyhow, and I want to do more where I actually prepare for something, and these Bhagavatam readings, I do zero preparation for it. So I mean, I have this book which is really helpful, and I'm reading it together with you, but I'm not reading anything on my own, really. I'm just reading it together. Everything I'm reading is together with you. Anyhow, all right. Thank you so much for joining. See you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe.